Hey everyone, Carl here with Literate Lessons, bringing you a deep dive talking about some underused Pokemon this week. We're kind of running out of team building ideas for comes to restricted pairs. Most everything has been explored that is really viable at this point. So I thought it'd be cool to maybe look at some underused Pokemon that you might see at EUIC or in a future regional. These Pokemon have had very small effects and top cuts, and I thought it'd be interesting to kind of maybe look at these guys a little bit harder under a harsher light and see why they work or why they don't work. But before we get started on all that, make sure to hit that like button, smash the subscribe button. We're at 340, so close to that goal of 350 before the end of the month. Would love to hit that. And if you're interested in other team building stuff or getting ready for regionals, make sure to check out the description down below to find our Discord link, discord.gg/LRlessons. We're very close to 500 members and hitting that community goal too. So would love to have you there and talk team building and anything else. So first on our list is Tapufini. This is probably the most played of the 5 that we have here. Seeing that it's played, it has its own archetype built with it, that being Calyrex Ice and Palkia. We've seen this inkling a little bit of Tapufini kind of popping up on there, but the most recent Taiwan regional, I believe it was Taichung 2022. Had a second place Tapufini and then another one in the top 16. We've seen it occasionally in other places as well. I believe there was one in Salt Lake City. There's a couple in other events. But the big thing that Tapufini does is its ability Misty Surge. Setting up Misty Terrain and protecting your Dynamax Pokemon from any kind of status is usually really, really important. Things like Palkia and Calyrex Ice both benefit from that because they will struggle if they're afflicted with the status, be it burn, paralyzation, sleep, etc. And the way Tapufini works is usually as a backline support, kind of. I wouldn't say it's support, but it does offer a lot into that support role with things like Heal Pulse, Haze. We see Icy Wind sometimes, not Iron Defense. Icy Wind. So there's support moves in this move pool. Also gets Taunt for some reason, because what Tapu wouldn't have Taunt, I guess. But the big thing that it does is its Calm Mind, Moonblast damage sets. These things are more aligned with what we're used to seeing in like Series 7 or Series 9, where you would see Water Move, Fairy Move, and Calm Mind Protect with leftovers. They are super standard, but can always just be tried and true, just like everything else. It's one of probably the best sets for Fini right now is these bulky leftover sets. If I remember correctly, it's like, goodness, 177, and then like 108. And then some special attack, a little special defense, and then depending on your speed tier, if you want to outspeed Groudon, obviously you probably would pull a little out of special attack, go into that to try and outspeed Groudon. If you're worried about not outspeeding him while playing in Trick Room, you can put more into special attack and kind of vote on it that way. The choice is yours for the most part. Tapufini is very flexible, can be played in a lot of different ways. You could play bulky special defense, you could play bold to play bulky defense. Water Fairy typing is a very good typing right now. You are neutral to Steel. You really have to really worry about like Regieleki, Key Thundurus, and things like that. So if Tapufini fits your plan, I highly recommend it. Water types are kind of out of style, and if you're worried about running into Gastrodon, you get Grass Knot. Simple as that. Just play Grass Knot Tapufini and just blow it up. Next on my list here is Rotom Heat. Rotom Heat is kind of in that same boat as Tapufini. It's got a very good typing in Electric and Fire. With the ability Levitate means you're only really weak to Water and Rock. And your Water weakness is kind of mitigated by the fact that you have Stab Electric type attacks. So you're fairly safe into that. What Rotom Heat really does, though, is just win in the sun. This used to be the end-all be-all sun counter. You would slap safety goggles, and Venusaur couldn't touch you. You just ran rampant over everything on the sun team. Groudon was a problem. Was never really an issue outside of just like rock slide crits and whatnot. you have great utility as the fire electric type. Will-O-Wisp and Thunderwave are both fantastic. You have access to Volt Switch as an electric type, which can lead to some cool pivoting strategies. As a ghost type, you also get things like Foul Play, Dark Pulse, Ally Switch, stuff like that. And then unique things that you do mainly are things like Helping Hand, Electro Web. We don't normally see and think of these things on Rotom Heat, but you have access to these moves and can easily utilize them on the right team. What you do lack, though, is obviously firepower. Your best fire move is Overheat, which can miss, but Overheat is still nothing to laugh at. You can usually negate the special attack drop by using Nasty Plot or even Volt Switch and pivoting back out. A lot of the common sets nowadays are just like Overheat, Nasty Plot, Thunderbolt, and Will-O-Wisp, foregoing Protect because you don't really care too much. If you really want to play super support, though, this Thunderbolt can be Electro Web. You could also just play Ally Switch over Will-O-Wisp. I think Will-O-Wisp is super important, though, mainly into the opposing like Rinya Sun teams. Will-O-Wisp in that Groudon is just cripples it forever, and it can never actually recover from that. And then things like Zacian really suffer from Will-O-Wisp. Zacian's a terrible Pokemon into the electric fire Rotom Heat. Keeping on the theme with Levitate Pokemon, Bronzong, my current favorite Pokemon probably of these underused Pokemon, is a monster in its own right. Steel Psychic means that you have a great defensive typing. You're not weak to fighting anymore, so Zacian can't really OHKO you. I think it takes 2 to 3 Sacred Swords, depending on your build, to get through a Bronzong effectively. Granted, Iron Defense means that you can't really bulk up in front of the Zacians, but what is cool is Iron Defense boosts Body Press. I think Body Press was kind of popular there in the previous series before we made it to this double restricted format, and now Body Press is just like gone. You don't see it on anything anymore. None of the Pokemon around that use it really well are here, and I think Bronzong is probably going to be the one that brings back the use of Body Press here. Again, this is another Pokemon that gets access to Ally Switch. If you really want to play those mind games in best of 3, that's a great tool for you. What Bronzong also excels at is just being your Trick Room weakness policy activator. You have access to Trick Room, you have access to Bulldoze. Things like Solgaleo really appreciate these slower Bulldoze things if that's something you're interested in. You could also just do Trick Room shenanigans and just underspeed everybody if that's something you're interested in. Notable calcs here with +2 defense, like off of Iron Defense, is Body Press is a 3-hit KO into Zacian at +2. At +4, it's a 2-hit KO. And depending on the builds, you can OHKO certain Zacians after like a close combat or something. It's super duper cool. Anything that can be a problem for you, like Calyrex Ice, Landorus, anything that's not a fire type really, just can't touch you because you have Levitate, and you can just sit there and build up Iron Defenses and then Body Press them and just take them out. As for items, people have been playing Leftovers, people have been playing Mental Herb. I like Mental Herb in best of 3 versus Leftovers. Just the random taunts that would get you and turning off your Iron Defense it cripples you essentially, and you're not getting the full value of your sets if you're doing that kind of thing. If Iron Defense and Body Press aren't your thing, though, you have access to things like Gyro Ball. Notably, your attack and special attack are really close. So you can run either special or physical. Special, you would probably want to look at Flash Cannon. You could also do like Shadow Ball if you really want to pick up something against Calyrex Shadow. So there's a lot that Bronzong can do. I even forgot about this. You can like Imprison. You can use Hypnosis. There's a lot that Bronzong has to offer for people, and it's going to take the right team probably to make it work. Number 4 on my list is a little bit of an iffy one. I'm not sure how good Hitmontop actually is here, but I think there's potential here just for Hitmontop to take off. So the cool things that Hitmontop does is obviously Intimidate, Fake Out. It's very Incineroar-esque. The difference being is you have a slew of priority moves. at your disposal here. A lot of the big things right now is that Rinya's Sun team, so you're trying to out damage it, and the best way to out damage it is to activate your own weakness policy and blow things up. Hitmontop does that fantastically well, especially since the fact that you have steel coverage and fighting coverage, which offer a lot of diversity when it comes to activating policies. And you also even have things like bulldoze, like random moves like bulldoze can be huge and trying to like get speed control. Sucker punch is another option if you're looking to hit like a psychic type. Things like Solgaleo are really cool like that, trying to do priority stuff that way. A lot of what Hitmontop does well at though is the support. If you're noticing a trend here, a lot of these Pokemon are great at support and not really good at Dynamax outside of Rotom Heat and Tapufini every once in a while. But a lot of these support Pokemon are what's going to win you games a lot of the time. And Hitmontop is no slouch at that either. Access to coaching is huge. I think a decently fast coaching Pokemon can make or break this format for the most part. You also get access to Brick Break to deny screens, unlike a Grimmsnarl. You get Helping Hand. Again, this is a really big thing. Helping Hand boosting all your damaging attacks is just huge. It can mess with people's calcs and can just ruin anybody's like battle plans because you just happen to OHKO their Pokemon that would normally live at 30 or 40%. Another cool unique thing that it gets is like Wide Guard and Feint. These are moves that we don't see too terribly often anymore, mainly due to the fact that like they're not super utilized a ton. Dynamax kind of makes them a little useless, but with the potential of running into so many Kyogres and Groudons, having access to Wide Guard is, I would say, fairly important. And then Feint on the backside of that will let you break through, detect, protect, and all that stuff so you can get your damage through. This makes it a double-edged sword, essentially. You can either be super offensive or super defensive, and it's very usable in a whole lot of different scenarios. Last Pokemon list is another Pokemon that's near and dear to my heart, and this is Alolan Persian. This thing is crazy fast and has been popping up a little bit on some recent laddering events. This is another fake out mon. Doesn't get to do any of the intimidate stuff like Hitmontop does, but we have access to really fast utility moves. And by the way, like utility moves, I mean like Icy Wind, Fake Tears. You have access to Power Gem is a cool thing. Parting Shot, if that's something you're interested in. This was something that I've seen a lot in draft leagues, is just like fast Parting Shot is really, really good. You also have access to the slew of Taunt and stuff like that. Throat Chop. A really cool tech that I used to play a lot is Burning Jealousy. I believe Fur Coat means that you don't die to anything Zacian can do in the first turn, meaning that your Burning Jealousy will go off and you'll burn the Zacian and then they won't ever do anything to you at all. And overall, you just have a lot of just cool, like, coverage moves. I saw Skitter Smack up here. You have access to U-Turn, Seed Bomb. There's a lot that you can do with this Alolan Persian because it's just been around forever and it's spanned across multiple formats. Flatter's kind of cute. Foul Play is always a good option if that's something you're interested in. Again, another Hypnosis user. Charm. The list just goes on and on. Oh yeah, Quash. Here's the big thing. So we don't see a whole lot of Quash anymore. Sableye being the prominent user of it and not being that great because it's just not that bulky means that you get 1 to 2 Quash off a game usually, and then you just lose Sableye forever. Persian can kind of be this fast Quashmon as well, being base 115. You max out without nature investment, you max out at 167. You speed tie all base 100s. And then you can just put it into whatever and you get to 183. You're just shy of a lot of the things like Zacian, like the bulky Zacians usually would be. Another cool thing is you outspeed Thundurus naturally. So that's something you could do if you're interested in like using Foul Play or something to that scenario to beat it up. But I think a lot of what Alolan Persian's good at is just kind of outspeeding your opponent, utilizing these cool utility moves that you get, using fake out when applicable to just put pressure on your opponent, and can just give your opponent a lot of headaches. And that's all I got. I hope you look at these 5 Pokemon when you're team building next time and maybe see if they fit in over, say, an Incineroar, or over your standard Dusclops P2. Maybe your fire type isn't what you wanted it to be and Rotom Heat more fits the bill. Maybe you're really having a problem with like status and Tapufini just solves the problem by setting Misty Surge. There's a lot that these Pokemon, these 5 can do specifically for your team, and I hope that this little insight into access to what they have and kind of talk about that stuff helps you in the future. Again, if you want to hear more about this stuff, go hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications. We put videos out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. We put out all other sorts of like content on the Discord if that's something you're interested in looking up there. We stream on Twitch and all that. But that's all I got for this week. Make sure to leave a comment down below what other topics you want to see me talk about, and we will see you all next week. Bye, everyone.